Today, we are diving into a truly remarkable journey, the invisible worker. I want you to picture something for a second. Imagine the dark, empty streets of a sleeping city. It's bitterly, bitterly cold out. And while the rest of the world is tucked away in nice, warm beds, our subject, Daniel, is already out there, completely invisible to the people he serves. This is a story about sheer resilience and how the exact circumstances that seemed built to break him actually became the literal foundation for his leadership.
Every single morning at exactly 4:12 a.m., way before the alarms go off, before the coffee shops even think about flipping their open signs, and long before the city wakes up, Daniel was already on the clock. Just let that sink in for a minute. Most people are fast asleep, but Daniel is out there walking through the pitch-black streets with nothing but the loud hum of a diesel engine and this biting winter wind for company, collecting the city's garbage. He is the invisible worker literally holding up the visible world.
And look, this wasn't just waking up early kind of work. This was grueling, back-breaking labor. We're talking every single day lifting these incredibly heavy, sometimes leaking bags, bracing against freezing mornings, and dealing with muscles that were just permanently exhausted. But honestly, the heaviest weight he carried wasn't even the garbage. It was the endless judgment. You know how it is? People saw a uniform, they saw a garbage truck. Sure, they appreciated the clean streets, absolutely, but they never saw his story. They saw exactly what he did, but they didn't have a clue who he was. And over the years, Daniel actually started believing that his future was just going to look exactly like his current reality. Okay, let's dive into this because his daily reality was such a massive, heartbreaking contrast to who he was on the inside. You see, as a kid, Daniel was a boy with enormous dreams. His imagination was just limitless. He wanted to build things. He wanted to create things. He wanted to lead things. His teachers always praised his curiosity. They knew for sure he had serious potential. But here's the thing. Potential doesn't automatically print opportunity, right? His family really struggled financially. Money vanished literally as fast as his parents could make it, and every single bill brought this massive wave of stress. So life was getting incredibly complicated way before those childhood dreams could ever take off. So when Daniel graduated, there was just no time for long-term planning or expensive college degrees. Survival had to come first. The dreams pushed to the back burner. In year one, he takes the sanitation job with the city, basically telling himself, hey, it's just a stopgap, it's temporary, right? But man, life moves so much faster than we expect. Year two hits, and then by year three and beyond, we see this trap just completely snap shut. The temporary, slowly, almost silently, becomes the new normal. He was financially trapped in time, and his dreams were put on indefinite hold. And the sheer pain of this trap really came to a head on one specific afternoon. Daniel decided to go to a school reunion. All around him, his old classmates are bragging about their promotions, starting up businesses, building these flashy careers. And eventually, you know it's coming, he gets hit with the inevitable question. So, what do you do now? Daniel gave him an honest answer, and the room, well, it just fell completely, awkwardly quiet. Like nobody was outwardly mean about it, but those external, quiet reactions, they deeply impacted his internal reality. He drove home that night feeling utterly defeated. It wasn't the job itself that hurt, it was what he believed that job said about him. For the very first time, he seriously wondered if his dreams had permanently expired.
But then, a really subtle shift happens. One unbelievably hot Saturday, while he was just walking through town, Daniel ducked into a public library. Not for any grand reason, literally just to escape the oppressive heat. He hadn't set foot in one in years. But as he's wandering through these super quiet, air-conditioned aisles, this running his hand over the worn spines of the books, something caught his eye. He started pulling books off the shelves. We're talking leadership, psychology, communication, success stories. He borrowed one, and then another, And suddenly, this massive awakening began.
And this brilliantly illustrates his secret education, which started out as just a quick escape from the heat, turned into this rigorous daily routine. He built a personal system of transformation. Step 1, reading books on business and leadership. Step 2, devouring audiobooks and courses while he was out on his garbage routes. Step 3, meticulously writing in his journals and taking massive amounts of notes. Every single afternoon after his shift, he spent time learning. Sometimes it was just 10 minutes, sometimes it was hours. And nobody was forcing him to do this. He did it because, finally, hope was waking up inside him again.
Now, this created a really fascinating duality in his life, right? Because how the world saw him remained exactly the same. A garbage collector doing heavy physical labor. But who he was actually becoming behind the scenes was entirely different. He was becoming a dedicated student of leadership, developing this razor-sharp mind. His communication, his confidence, his discipline, they were all leveling up. It was happening quietly, and yeah, it was slow, but it was incredibly powerful. He was proving in real time that consistency matters so much more than intensity.
But of course, just as he's gaining all this amazing internal momentum, life throws him straight into the abyss. Because every hero's journey has its darkest hour, right? And Daniel was about to face his ultimate test. His mother suddenly started experiencing some really serious health problems. And with that, the medical expenses started skyrocketing rapidly. That crushing financial pressure returned, and it was stronger and way more suffocating than ever before. He felt totally trapped. He felt absolutely exhausted to his core. In fact, one morning, right in the middle of lifting those freezing heavy garbage containers, he honestly thought about throwing in the towel, abandoning every single goal, thinking, maybe just ordinary survival is enough. Maybe all this self-improvement just isn't worth the agonizing effort. So the absolutely crucial point here is what happened later that evening. In his absolute darkest moment, he opened up an old journal and he found a sentence that he had written to himself years earlier. It read, "If I stop believing in my future, nobody else can do it for me." I mean, just let that sink in for a second. Those words hit him like an absolute freight train because he knew they were perfectly true. That night, right in the middle of all the financial chaos and sheer exhaustion, he made a concrete decision. No matter how tough life got, he was never, ever going to quit growing. And guess what? That unwavering dedication finally hit a tipping point. All those years of invisible, quiet learning were about to collide head-on with a totally unexpected opportunity. Let's move to the payoff and see how this all builds. Step 1. One afternoon, a city operations manager actually noticed Daniel helping to solve this really complex scheduling problem they were having. And Daniel's solution wasn't just okay, it was intelligent, efficient, and super practical. Step 2, the manager, who was completely blown away by these high-level problem-solving skills coming from a sanitation worker, strikes up a conversation. And that's when he uncovers Daniel's massive backlog of self-education, all the books, the courses, the incredible discipline. Step 3, a few months roll by and an internal operations position opens up at the city. Daniel throws his hat in the ring. Now, some people doubted him, a few even laughed behind his back. But you guys, the interview was an absolute breeze for him. Why? Because for years, he had been preparing for this exact moment without even realizing it. And yeah, he got the job. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is understanding the core philosophy that changed his life. It wasn't just about making more money or getting a fancier title. The most massive shift was entirely internal. See, the old way was measuring himself by his current circumstances, looking down at his sanitation uniform and just feeling defeated. But the new way, that was measuring himself by his continuous internal growth. Because circumstances, well, they can change in a literal instant, but your internal growth, that stays with you forever. So let's fast forward a bit. Years later, Daniel is no longer the invisible worker. He's now a highly respected operations leader for the city. And one morning, way before the sun even thinks about coming up, he's standing outside, watching the sanitation crews begin their early routes. It's a scene that is incredibly, deeply familiar to him. As he's watching those crews out there in the freezing cold, he remembers his own heavy work. He remembers the self-doubt and the sheer loneliness of those 4:12 a.m. shifts. But instead of any bitterness, this profound wave of gratitude just washes over him. As the source material beautifully puts it, the very experience he once wanted to escape had helped build the person he became. So, what does this all mean for us? What's the grand takeaway from Daniel's journey? It's simply this: your current position is not your permanent destination, period. Far too many people just throw away their dreams long before they actually run out of possibilities. And why? Simply because they assume that today's circumstances are predicting permanent outcomes. But they aren't. Your circumstances describe where you are today, sure, but they absolutely do not decide where you can go tomorrow.
Listen, if you are out there feeling overlooked right now, or if your progress feels painfully, frustratingly slow, I want you to remember Daniel's secret education. Keep learning, keep improving, keep believing in yourself. Just take it one single day at a time. One book, one lesson, one new habit. Daniel invested in himself when absolutely nobody else was watching. His process felt completely invisible, right up until the exact moment it wasn't. Which brings us to our final provocative thought for the day. Is your story still being written? What are you going to do next? The world might be underestimating you right now, but I promise you that doesn't determine your future. As long as you just keep moving forward, your story is far from over. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next one.